One of my personal favourite things about Minecraft is that it's a game that is always evolving, it's always being updated and new features are being introduced. Minecraft back in 2012, when I first started making videos on it, was very different from what it's like today. So I thought in this video, we would take a look at a few features and a few little quirks that only old school Minecrafters will remember. Now I remember when Elytra were first introduced into the game, there weren't any fireworks to propel you. You actually had to use a bow and arrow and kind of shoot yourself with punch 2 to actually get some height. And I have to say, I used to be really good at this. But by the look of things, I'm a little bit out of practice. Now, this is quite stressful in of itself, but can you imagine flying over the end? I remember there were a handful of experiences when we were trying to find end cities, and you would be dropping in between the islands, frantically trying to shoot arrows, trying to get some lift. Now this one is for those of you who have been playing Minecraft for a very long time. For those of you who started back in 2010, 2011, this video should look familiar because this is how to make a minecart boost track. It used to be that powered rails didn't exist. There was no way to actually propel minecarts unless of course you were going downhill. That is until Almighty Bob came along and created this kind of loop track that for some reason propelled the minecart a couple hundred blocks extra. I am really disappointed that the original bud switch doesn't work anymore. I've tried my best to make it, but boats don't work how they used to. Here's a little bit of Redstone history for you. On August the 19th, 2011, Etho uploaded a video called Minecraft Tutorial Bud Switch, and in the description he wrote buds equal block update detector switch. He was the first person to coin that term, and since then we've been using them in farms, in redstone activation devices, in traps. It completely changed the way that Minecraft works. Now we tend to use observers or pistons, but his original design actually used flowing water and boats to activate. It was really cool. Before we had actual fireworks in Minecraft, we had what was known as TNT fireworks. They looked a little bit like this. And blimey, I think I went a little bit overkill with the TNT there. I mean, we didn't really get too much of an explosion up at the top. But if you wanted to celebrate something, this is how you did it. But then, of course, we didn't have dispensers back then. You used to have to manually place in the TNT and have a really long delay running into the top TNT block. Those were the days. I think it's safe to say that nowadays we are well and truly used to fully automatic farms in Minecraft. The ability to have farms in Minecraft that produce things for you, they then move the items into some form of hopper stream, and then they transport those items into storage systems. It's incredibly helpful, and I wouldn't have Minecraft without it. But there was a time where we didn't have hoppers, and we didn't have automatic transport of items. What you would do if you had a fully automatic farm is run the items into some form of ice water stream, and then send the items off outside of the loaded chunks so that they would unload and they wouldn't despawn. And then eventually, when you came back onto the computer, you'd walk into those loaded chunks and always crash your computer because thousands of items would just be sitting there. Speaking of things crashing your computer, these definitely didn't help the situation. The old entity launchers. Now these used to be the fastest ways to get around. You would put a bunch of cows or a bunch of villagers inside a tiny chamber, then you'd drop into it and be shot off into the distance and travel about 200 blocks in a matter of seconds. Then they changed how entities work so that they didn't push the player anymore, and then it got changed back so the entities do push the players, but now we have entity cramming, which means that you can't have too many mobs in one specific place. It's a shame because these things are quite good fun. Nowadays, if you have an underground base or a sky base and you want grass in that, it's quite a simple process. Grab yourself a silk touch shovel, you can pick up a bunch of grass and then place it down there. Really nice and easy. Except the days before we had silk touch, weren't really able to do that. What you had to do is grab yourself a piston and grab yourself a redstone torch, and you would piston the grass there. So you would literally just push it along, push it into a bunch of dirt, and then wait for the grass to spread through it. It meant that if you had grass in your base where there wasn't supposed to be grass, people knew that you'd put tons of effort in. Something that I feel very nostalgic about is that Minecraft never used to help you with crafting. You used to just have to find things out for yourself. For example, I always used to forget how to make pistons, so you'd have to look it up, go through to here, and then go, oh, okay, the redstone goes on the bottom, and then the iron goes on the top. I don't know how, I always used to get those things the wrong way round. Fun story, Minecraft hasn't always had creative mode. When I first started playing, there was no way to get infinite numbers of items unless you were using give commands on a server. So you'd have to write give mumbo jumbo 1. and that would be the block ID for stone. The actual names of the items didn't work, so you'd have to learn all of the block IDs, which means that you'd need a chart a little bit like this. Now, eventually I actually learned most of the block IDs that I frequently used off by heart, but I also had this as my desktop background, just in case I needed to reference it. Those are the days. Boats in the current version of Minecraft are now pretty good. I mean, they're an easy way to get around, they're nice and reliable, they're relatively quick. I wouldn't feel any stress about taking a boat on a really long journey. But this hasn't always been the case. Boats, for a long period of Minecraft's history, were extremely broken. They were incredibly fragile, they were awful to control, and if you wanted to travel long distances, you'd need about 15 spares just to be safe. And for some reason, Mojang just ignored this for multiple years, to the point where every single update that rolled out, when the announcement came through, the response from the community was, "Can you please fix the boats?" It actually became a bit of a meme. Enchanting in Minecraft is currently very stress-free. It hasn't always been the case. When enchantments were first introduced, you used to have to go up to level 50, and the levels required a lot more XP to level up. So level 50 was a monstrous amount of XP. And also, there were no Enderman farms, there were no Blaze farms, there were no Guardian farms, and the only way that you could actually gather XP is by killing mobs. So you couldn't get it through mining or any of the other ways that we do in the current version of Minecraft, which means that you just had to use mob cage mob farms, which are incredibly slow. So it would take hours upon hours to reach level 50. Then when you got to level 50, when you got to your enchanting table, you weren't actually guaranteed to be displayed a level 50 enchantment. You had to consistently right click on the enchanting table until eventually it decided to show you an option to do a level 50 enchantment. And when you clicked on that level 50 enchantment, you had no idea what you were going to get. And we didn't have anvils back then, so there was no way to combine enchantments and tools. You were stuck with what you got. And then eventually, when that tool started to run out of durability, there was nothing you could do. There was no mending, and once again, there were no anvils, so there was no way to combine tools and get the durability back. It would just run out of durability, and then you'd have to go through the whole process again. It was awful. It was seriously awful. It was the biggest grind ever to get yourself a full set of diamond armor and a full set of diamond tools. Oh, and I feel like I should mention, you know, in the current version of Minecraft, it only uses 3 levels when you enchant a tool. That's the maximum number of levels it can use. Now, that wasn't the case back then. It would use up all 50 levels. You'd go right the way back to level 0 and you'd have to start again. Ugh, I do not miss those days. I remember when you'd be playing on a Minecraft server with your friends, you'd be exploring the Minecraft environment, and then you'd run into a situation like this. A hole that the players couldn't actually walk into. You wouldn't fall off the edge, you'd just start to glitch out and get stuck, and then you'd both look at each other and you'd go, you know what, I guess we need to restart the Minecraft server now. But before you did, you'd always just take a little peek down the sides, because you'd be looking for ores, and if any of you spotted any diamonds down on the bottom there, you knew where you'd be going. It used to be that when you placed a piece of TNT, you had to know that that's where you wanted to place it. There was nothing in Minecraft where you could just remove the TNT and place it somewhere else. If it was placed, it was set to ignite. If the player punched that TNT or tried to break that TNT, the TNT was going to explode. So if you placed a piece of TNT in your friend's house, that was basically guaranteeing that your friend's house is going to get blown up, unless your friend is smart and decided to piston it back over to your house, which happened a handful of occasions on me and my friend's little Minecraft server. You know, earlier on, I was moaning about enchantments and how difficult it used to be to get them. Well, you have to understand that when they were first introduced, we were still completely blown away by it. In fact, there were some people that complained that adding enchantments was making Minecraft too easy, because this was the fastest that you used to be able to mine. I mean, I remember when I first got my first ever diamond pickaxe, I thought to myself, this is insane, this is so fast, how could you mine things any quicker? I can't believe how quick this thing is. Nowadays, this is painfully slow. I can't believe I used to play like this. Can you imagine clearing out a large area with just a regular diamond pickaxe? It would be awful. Now, this has been a bit of a gradual change. It's something that I didn't really notice over the years, but Minecraft has definitely got less saturated as time has gone on. Because if you look back at old videos of Minecraft, you're completely blown away by how colourful the game used to be. The grass is like luminous green, everything just sticks out, and everything is crazy contrasty. Now, obviously, this isn't particularly very good for building. It means that it's difficult to make things fit in together, but sometimes I do kind of miss it. I mean, it was so crazy looking. Oh gosh, I can tell this is going to bring up some fights in the comment section. The old spammy swords. The ability to spam your swords. Now, I remember when this got changed. I remember the backlash that it got. be honest, I prefer the new. I think the new one's... You know what, I'm not going to talk about it. But you know, that's not the first time that there's been massive debates about combat mechanics being changed. This is what bows used to be like. Oh my, I forgot how ridiculous it is. It's literally as fast as you can click. It's so stupid. But, I mean, in a way, that is very satisfying. I remember if a mob came near you, you just used to machine gun it. It literally just spam in its general direction and hope for the best. It's hilarious. And go! I shot myself with my own arrow. You're gonna have to imagine that I'm facing in the other direction. There's no way to point the camera at your face in Minecraft Beta 1.7. I hope that you enjoyed this video. This has been a real nostalgic trick for me. This update, this version of Minecraft is actually the first version of Minecraft that I started playing. The one that had pistons in it. So it's just been cool to go back through and take a look at how Minecraft has evolved over the years. If you have anything that you think I missed from this video, then put it down in the comment section. I'd love to hear your little stories. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. And if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'll see you later.